Hey everybody, this is Dave Blair again, and I'm covering the Simpit Series race in SRS and the games of Assetto Corsa. This is week 5, race 2, so this is the Friday night race. Now, the Thursday night race was a little different because it got moved to a 20-minute race instead of an hour race, so there was a lot of confusion at the beginning of that one, but we are back on track. This is an hour-long race. It's got a lot of good stuff going on. I'll try to cover the incidents and accidents and also some of the great racing that went on. And it went all the way to the end, too. Even on the last lap, you had people still fighting for position. So buckle in, and we'll take a look at all the things that happened. Yeah, everybody seemed to get along. We didn't have our first incident until after, was about the end of the first lap. But just some really good racing early on, everyone being respectful, everybody still fighting for position. There was a lot of jockeying going on in this first lap. Okay, we're going to start on board with Rick Longano here. This is at the end of the first lap, and he catches the grass and rides it all the way down to the wall. That's really unfortunate, but not as bad as what Hugo just did. Okay, now we're on board with Hugo Ramos, and you can see Rick Longano going off right there. And I don't know what he was doing here, but he must have not been watching where he was going because he ran into the barricade right there and totaled his car. So at the end of the first lap, he was out. Okay, now we're on board with Ricardo Mascarenas, and you can see Heiko Schurman out there in front. Andreas is going to get a little squirrely here, but this is a good battle here for second place between Andreas and Ricardo. Okay, now we're on board with Andreas. And again, he's still battling Ricardo here for second place. And they're just going to have some contact here in this corner, which is really unfortunate for these two because Ricardo was in second and he got knocked back. He'll be in 11th when he finishes this lap. And Andreas was in third and he'll be knocked back to 13th. Okay, now we're on board with Leif Hellberg. And Andreas is looking to get by him. You can see Ricardo goes a little wide here. There's Will Dawson and Dave Blair going up the inside here. Matt Marlowe following through, and there's Bryce Evans. So this is some good close racing right here. Okay, now we're on board with Luke Skye, and he's going to work on Doug Hawley here. Luke Skye is in 10th place at this time. We're about 7.5 minutes into the race, and he's going to have contact with Andreas here. and he drops from 10th all the way back to 21st. Now we're on board with Andreas. We're going to take a look at it from his point of view. So there was a lot of aggressive racing out there. Okay, we're going to stay on board with Andreas. There's Dave Blair getting by, Bryce Evans. And at this point, he's having problems with his car. I believe what he was doing here was adjusting his pit, because he's going to take a pit stop here and come in for full repairs. Which was actually pretty smart on his part, because he'd been in 2 collisions at this point and his car was pretty banged up, and he makes a strong comeback after he fixes his car. Now we're on board with Rick Hyde here, and he's battling max speed. They're going to have a little contact, which puts him in the wall. Then he's going to get in contact with Leif Hellberg there and spin out, and he's going to call it quits for the night. So now we're on board with Leif Hellberg, and we're going to take another look at that Rick Hyde max speed incident. Now Leif Hellberg, he took a lot of damage in that. He really struggles with his car down here. So we are running 100% damage, so what looks like a minor incident sometimes can really cause problems with your controls. Okay, I'm going to speed it up at this point, and we'll stay on board with Leif Hellberg here. And he's going to do like Will Dawson did. He's going to cut the track here and head back to pit. Okay, now we're on board with James Thurston, and he's coming into the bus stop here. We're 14.5 minutes into the race, and he's going to take a weird hop there. Yeah, last night a bunch of people struggled with that bus stop, and we had the same thing going on tonight. Okay, now we're on board with John Crane, and he's going to get a little sideways here, and just a bad place to spin out. Okay, now we're on board with Paul Kogan. We're going to take another look at it. Yeah, he had nowhere to go. Okay, now we're on board with Paul Kogan, and he's going to struggle here on this corner. I wonder if his car took some damage and he's still trying to deal with it at this point, but he's going to fall from 11th to 15th. And we're almost 21 minutes into an hour-long race. Okay, now we're on board with Bryce Evans, and him and I had a great battle in this race. Had a lot of fun with it too, because it was good, close, respectful racing. There I go up the inside. His car was faster than me in the straight though. I just couldn't hold him off. He's going to go a little deep. I'm going to get my spot back. And there's max speed. And Leif Hellberg. But not to worry, Bryce will make a comeback. Okay, now we're on board with Sean Cole. And if you watched his live stream, you know that he went out with the wrong setup loaded. So he had to come in, make a pit stop, and pick up fuel. But pretty amazing job of him doing everything on the fly and adjusting stuff so that he could come in, and he has a strong finish. So different strategy. A lot of people had different pit strategies, but this was kind of thrown on him at the last minute, so good job dealing with that. But he was in second place, and then he took this pit stop, and he comes out of here in 11th. But he still makes a strong comeback in the end. Okay, now we're on board with Max Speed, and he's currently running in 12th. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but Max, if you leave a comment, we'd all like to know. But he gets going again, and he dropped from 12th to 18th at this point, and we are almost halfway through the race. Okay, now we're on board with Owen Deneen, and he's in second at this point, and he's going to take a pit stop. So again, just different strategy. He's going to come out of the pit in 10th and have to work his way back up. Okay, now we're on board with Bryce Evans, and he's working on John Crane here. I really like that paint job too, Bryce. That's a nice pass. Okay, now we're on board with Dave Blair. That's me. I'm going to get by John Crane here, and then I'm going to have a little battle with Bryce Evans. And now we're on board with Luke Sky. Nice pass. Get back on board with Dave Blair. Okay, now we're on board with Luke Sky. Bryce is going to blow that corner a little bit. But again, just like before, he's going to make a comeback. Good pass. Okay, now we're on board with Marcio Gamarez. And we are 43 minutes into the race. He's just going to dip a tire off and get loose. He was running in 4th. And he's going to drop to 8th. Yeah, I believe his tires were starting to go at this point. Okay, staying on board with Marcio Gamarez. He's currently in 8th, and we're 47 minutes into the race at this point, and he's going to get loose again. This time he drops from 8th to 10th. So again, some of those guys that took a pit stop, took fresh tires, you know, really made a difference. So I was kind of wondering myself if I should take a pit stop or if I should stay and do no pit stop. Yeah, just different strategies. I think on this one, because the pit lane wasn't that long, might have been better to run soft halfway and then do a pit stop. Okay, now we're on board with Doug Hawley, and we're about 52 minutes into the race here, and he's going to struggle with the bus stop. It really is very tricky. Sean Cole gets by here at this point. So Doug Hawley was running in 5th, now he's in 6th, and Sean picked up 5th. Okay, staying on board with Doug Hawley. Now we're almost 54 minutes into the race, and he's going to have the same problem in this bus stop. And that's going to be it for him. He's going to call it quits. And that's too bad, Doug. You were running really strong tonight. Okay, now we're on board with Ricardo Mascarenas, and he's currently running 2nd. He's going to get loose there, and he's trying to decide, should I fix my car? He takes a pit stop here, and just like Doug, his problems aren't over yet, and he's going to end up quitting out of the race. So I'm going to just fast forward here. So he comes in. He's in the pits for a long time. You can watch the timer here. And he's fully repairing his car. And then when he comes back out, his tires are cold. And he loops it. And then he calls it quits. So that's unfortunate. But he did win the race last night. So I guess that's a consolation. But he was in 2nd place. So sometimes you just have bad luck. Okay, now we're on board with Bryce Evans, and this is the last lap of the race, and we are both fighting for this position at this point. I told you he'd make a comeback. Nice pass. We had a slight touch there. Now we're on board with me. Again, just slight touch. Neither one of us really upset our car. But yeah, he had me. So good job, Bryce. And this was the last lap for us. Yeah, so Bryce and I weren't the only ones that had a major battle on the last lap. This is Sean Cole and Joe Antonio fighting on the last lap. But again, some good close racing. I was a little worried that they'd come together and have a repeat of the Thursday night race, but they kept it clean and respectful. Okay, just like always, we're going to run down 10th to 1st, and your 10th place finisher was Luke Sky. He started in 11th. Finishing in 9th was Andreas Castaneda, and he started in 3rd. Finishing 8th was Matt Marlowe, and he started in 16th. Finishing 7th was Marcio Gamarez, and he started in 7th. Finishing 6th was Will Dawson, and he started in 13th. Finishing in 5th was Owen Deneen, and he started in 5th. Coming in 4th was Sean Cole, and he started in 6th. Finishing 3rd was Joa Antonio, and he started in 8th. Finishing 2nd tonight was Sean Sebring, and he started in 4th. And your winner tonight was Heiko Schurman. Heiko Schurman, and he started in 1st. And here's your winner, Heiko Schurman, on his last lap, crossing the finish line. So if you think you can do better, you should come out and join us. We race on Thursday night and Friday night at 6 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. You just need Assetto Corsa's the game. You get SRS, Sim Racing System app. You install it in the game. There's videos on the Simpit YouTube channel. That's Sean Cole. And you can find the videos to help you get everything set up. Come out and race with us, and you can make the highlights. Okay, here are the race results for Week 5, Race 2. And here are the standings after Week 5, Race 2.